Yep, hello you guys. This is Jenna, Queen of Commentary, and we are back with another video. Yes, so this came across my desk, this story, this huge outlandish story, y'all. It is called Who the Heck Did I Marry? And we're gonna listen to these videos. It's like over 50. I don't know how many I'll be able to get through during this stream, but yeah, I listened to a few of them. She said that she saw the red flags and ignored them. Anyway, before we get into it, you know what to do, guys. Thumbs up the video, subscribe if you have not already, leave us a comment, and cut those notifications on so you'll know when we upload videos and things like that. Okay, let's get into it. Let's get into it, guys.
So one was his actual name and the other one on him under two different names. So one was his actual name and the other one was a variation, like a nickname.
Okay, guys, I had to skip the beginning. So she basically said that she met this guy on FB, and she also met him on another dating site. So he was on two different dating sites with two different names, and she didn't even know that. Okay, she is a state trooper. That's what she said, or she works with state troopers and things like that. And what we are listening to now is her first conversation with this guy that she met off of online. Okay.
Different pictures. So it was a running joke between us. Oh, you ain't even recognize that you had matched with me on Hinge. No, I didn't. And also that should have been a red flag. By the way, you will notice in this story, I called it the United Nations of red flags. It is so many red flags that, I mean, you would have thought I was colorblind because I ignored all of them. So
She wasn't colorblind. It just wasn't red flags to her, because what's red flags for me may not be for the next person. Listen to the story. It should have been some red flags. It shouldn't even been red flags. It should have been like, okay, this is too much. That's what it should have been. Not, But.
So, anyway, back to the story. We met around March 4th. We exchanged phone numbers. He called me and we talked on the phone for the first time. In the first phone call, he told me that he had just moved to Georgia from California, from San Diego. His job had transferred him because he was being transferred in as the new regional manager for a major condiment company that is based here in Georgia. I'm not going to say
All during the first conversation. So he's a big shot. He's a regional manager of some condiment company, like mustard or ketchup, okay, or something like that, that is located in Georgia, okay? Yeah.
the name. And so we also talked about his childhood. He told me he grew up in Philly. He's from Philly. Both of his parents were deceased. This is the first phone call. Both of his parents were deceased.
So he doesn't really have a past. If the parents are deceased, then it's really nothing to go by as far as his character, other than, or his raising. That's a whole nother part of your life, the way you were raised. So he doesn't have that parenting. He doesn't have parents. Okay. And so with that being said, her question should have been like, well, who raised you? That's what I would have done. But
His father was a Philadelphia police officer. His mom was a teacher. He also told me he briefly lived in Augusta with his family. He had two brothers and two sisters. He also had two half-brothers on his dad's side. First phone call. So I'm just giving you guys the backstory. This was the first phone call we had. So we talked about family. We talked about friends. We talked about our jobs. At the time, I was working at Georgia State Patrol. And he knew this, and he just thought that was like, wow, so you work with troopers all day. Yes, I did.
she worked with troopers all day. But her discernment, you know, because all they do all day is look for trouble. How are you a state trooper, but you couldn't get that this man was a smooth talker, talking too much, giving too much up the first date, or not even a date. This was all a phone call, by the way.
Also in that phone call, he explained to me that he used to play football. He explained that he used to play arena football.
Come on,
I know nothing about arena football.
Arena football is just inside football, y'all. It's not a big deal. You guys, get these likes up. Hello, hello, hello. I see you guys. Let's listen.
I know about NFL. I know about college. Go Dogs. But I don't know anything about arena football. So he explained to me that he used to play arena football. He used to work at Apple in the off season of arena football. And I remember thinking on that phone call, oh, okay, you know, like, good for you. I don't know anything about arena football, and I believe I did tell him that. I don't know anything about arena football. That'll come into play later on. So he told me, you know, I just moved here. My job is paying for my housing, and they're helping me to look for a house. He was like, right now I'm in Gwinnett County, but I'm trying.
He moves around too much, guys. Get these likes up. Thanks for the likes, y'all. Let's get to 10 likes, y'all. 10. Okay, if I get above 10, that's awesome. But that's all I'm looking for, 10. He moves around a little too much for me, for comfort. I mean, if they're moving around like that, it's a reason why. And it's not just because of your job. Okay? Yeah. That's just my opinion.
Trying to look for a house, ideally in Atlanta, like Brookhaven, Sandy Springs. He was like, I really would like to move out there. And so I thought, you know, that's great. You know, you're looking to get a house. You just moved here. He was like, I don't really know too many people here because I spend all my time at work.
That's a red flag for me. You don't know too many people here. That's saying that basically you can't refer to anybody else about him. That's why he is so, you know, explanatory on everything. He just wants you to be able to find out about him through him. I ain't got no friends. I ain't got no family. I move around a lot. Yeah, this was a lot of red flags. Wasn't it, babe?
It was. And, you know, this job is really demanding. So
you're not going to see me a lot because I work.
We talked more. He talked a lot, which took me by surprise because I'm not really used to men talking more than me.
And you shouldn't be, okay? Because when a man's talking too much, you guys get these likes up. Hello, hello, hello. Don't act like you don't know how to put no likes on somebody's videos, y'all. Come on, y'all. Like the video. Say hello. What's up? How you doing? We talking about some who the heck did I marry? But yeah, a man that talks. I'm not saying that they shouldn't be talking, but if it's too much, after a while, if you tell me too much, y'all, I'm kind of going to tune you out a little bit. Hope y'all don't tune me out, though. That's why we do a little bit of both here.
He eventually asked me out on a date. Our first date was set for Saturday, March 7th, 2020. He asked me what was my favorite restaurant. I said Cheesecake Factory. And so we agreed to go out at the Cheesecake Factory in a location that was in between. I lived in Clayton County at the time. He lived in Gwinnett County. I realized that if you don't know anything about Metro Atlanta, that makes no sense. But basically, we lived about 45 minutes apart. So we agreed to meet at the Cheesecake Factory over at Perimeter Mall, which is in an area, Sandy Springs, Dunwoody area. I was excited. Like, I called my friends and was like, I got a date, you know, blah, blah, blah. We'll see how it goes.
Be eager for nothing, y'all. She said she was excited. Be eager for nothing. Thank you, Joseph. Yes, we got a spiritual person in here. Praise God. Yes. Be eager for nothing, because I was about to say that's in the Bible. She was so eager she got a date at the Cheesecake Factory. Look, when a man asks you what's your favorite restaurant, you say, look, I'm not picky. I'll let you the man, I'm gonna let you choose for me, because you don't need to know what my favorite anything is. I want to see what you about, what you want to take, how important do you think I am. Cheesecake Factory is not something I feel like is whatever. That's where everybody goes. If they too busy, you got to sit there for 4 and 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes, get a little thing in your hand that buzz when it's... I don't want that. I want something special. You get what I'm saying? And Cheesecake Factory to me is not special, but that's just my opinion.
First conversation was good. Hopefully he looks like his pictures, because that's always an issue with online dating. Hopefully he looks like his pictures. So on my way to our date, I took
That's her problem. That's why she wouldn't be making a series if she didn't think about that. Let's hope he looks like his pictures. Let's hope he lives like his bio. How about that? Read the bio. Cheesecake Factory is fire. It's basic, like Miss Captain Morgan or Mr. whoever. It's basic, And the thing about it is, why are you asking me what my favorite? I want you to do the work. That's the problem. That's like you're in control. It's letting the woman be in control of everything. No, you take me out where you feel that, make him do the work. That lets you know where his mental state is. That makes him work. He's a jabber jaws like me.
85, and literally right before I got to Boulder Crest, the exit for Boulder Crest, I heard a boom, and I lost control of my car. Thank God that not thank God, but I knew what to do. So I did not crash, but my tire blew out. So I called him and I said, hey, I'm so sorry, but my tire just blew on 285. I'm slowly making my way off the exit. I believe I pulled into a Chevron gas station, and I said, I got to get this fixed. I don't know what to do. Like, I'm a damsel in distress kind of.
First of all, that part reminded me of one of them Lifetime movies of the men who will tap the back of your car just so they can get you to stop and play, and so they can play like a hero and this, that, and the other. I don't know if she says who actually hit her car, but let's see.
He kind of paused, he got quiet, and he was like, tell me exactly where you are, drop your pin. So I dropped the pin, and he came to the gas station.
Okay, guys, I've been off the market for a while. What does drop your pin mean? Does that mean that you guys, like, you just tell somebody exactly where you're located? That's something new to me. Drop your pin. I could look it up, but I want to see what y'all tell me.
I got out the car, and I was so relieved that he actually looked like his pictures that I was like, oh my God, he's actually attractive, because he's like 6'4", 6'5". Oh, also, man, I apologize. So let me go back to the first conversation. Let me add something. He did tell me in the first phone call that he was divorced, and that his ex-wife, she had 2 children, a boy and a girl, who were teenagers, young adults. I think the girl was about 20, and he said that he had a very close relationship with his stepkids.
Okay, that's a red flag for me, because those aren't even your children, yet you still have a very close, and I get it that you may have a still close relationship, but if you're with the children, you're going to be with the mother as well. So I'm getting a feeling of some things that may go on later down the line, but I don't want to speculate.
But that he and his ex-wife had divorced because she cheated on him out in California, and so coming to Georgia was a new beginning for him. She was still out in California, the kids were still out in California, and so he was like, I can't stand her, but I still want to be in the kids' lives. I have to put that in there because that will come back later. So this is just setting the stage. Again, that first conversation was, we talked about family, job, friends.
Can you share this in the community
how
board,
he
babe?
ended up in Georgia, me being in Georgia.
I'm saying,
things that, I would think people talk about in the first conversation. All right, now back to the tire blew out. So he shows up to the gas station. He changes my tire, which I just thought was the sexiest thing in the world. And then he proceeds to say, hey, I found a place.
He changed her tire because this was all planned. She never did say who hit her. So somebody just hit her. She nearly went off the road, and she didn't stop to see who did that. I don't know.
A tire place around the corner, you need to get another tire. Like, you can't drive on this donut. So he followed me to the tire place, and then helped me get a tire, paid for it. So I was definitely like, wow.
Paid for it? This is all the first date? So he was making sure to let her know I got money, I got abilities, you can pin me, whatever that's called. What's the pin location? What does that mean? I'm guessing what it is. I don't know what the heck is that pin location. She pinned her location to a man she don't even know. Never met in person, didn't even know how he looked. This what y'all doing? Oh, so, okay, so that's like a Google map thing. You can pin your location to the person that you want to meet, and then they can basically get the coordinates and get right to you. Oh, man.
And
that's
so
dangerous.
The vibe was good. So anyway, I get the tire fixed. We follow each other to the Cheesecake Factory over in Perimeter. We hold hands walking into the Cheesecake Factory. So in my mind, I'm like, this is just... Oh my God, I had butterflies. That's the look of...
You know, they were holding hand status because the conversations were so personal. I mean, she basically felt like she knew him already. You know, you guys, thumbs up the video, guys. Thumbs up the video, okay?
Of a woman who had butterflies. So I had butterflies. And we go in.
That wasn't butterflies of love. That was butterflies of nervousness. You don't know who this man is. He might seem okay. He paid for your tire, but that's just nerves that you should have had because this is the first time you meeting dude. I'm glad it was in a public place though.
There's a long wait, and so we sit outside and we just talk. And the conversation's great. And this is where he tells me what it is he's looking for. He tells me, you know, I believe at the time he was 42. He was like, I want to get married and it be for real. He's like, my parents were married 40 plus years before.
He said his parents was married 40 plus years. How old was his parents? Oh my gosh. Right? He said his parents was deceased, right?
40 years.
How are they married 40 years and he just 40? I mean, and he had brothers and sisters and half siblings. My Lord. I don't know. Is that... I don't know. I guess maybe he's saying that they were married. He did the math perfectly. So they were married before he was even born. Right? She said they were married 40 years and he was in his 40s.
Oh, wow.
That's cutting it close, ain't it?
It is.
My mom passed away, and I want that. I want marriage, family, a house. Like, that is what I want. He was like,
Well, he had marriage, family, and a house. The way he was talking as if he didn't have that already. Didn't she just talk about he had an ex-wife? And some stepkids? That's already... No. That's basically he rushing. He rushing like he playing that football, that arena football. He rushing the situation. That should not be a part of a first date after the lady just got hit, you know, from somebody else driving and almost went off the road. That conversation is a little too premature. I mean, y'all should just be talking over the menu. All right, what you like, biscuits or something? Like, not, oh, I want to get married. I want to have some kids.
You know, as a man, I'm ready to get married, but I want it to be for real because the first time, you know, it really hurt me when she cheated on me. So he's telling me everything that I wanted to hear. And so he was like, what is it that you want?
Well, at least she knows that.
And I said pretty much the same thing. I was like, I'm ready to get married. Definitely want to have a family. And
that's a big I. Just because he said something like that don't mean you just let yourself splat out. Be more of a listener. You get what I'm saying? Okay, that might be it. And he knew it. That's why he fed you those words. Because he obviously, you know, sometimes, you know, those narcissists or them devils out there, they can see what you being eager. That's why the Bible says don't be eager. Okay? That's what a lot of us women want. Relationships, babies. That goes without saying. But you ain't got to say that to somebody who said that to you. I mean, what if he said, hey, I want to go to bed too? Oh, yeah, I want that too. You going to join in? Ain't that right, babe?
Yeah.
Because we already know that's what they want.
I want to marry my best friend. So we both...
I want to marry my best friend. What? You can't marry some... This man's not nowhere near your best friend because you don't even know him. You know, you learn your mate, you learn your opponent by not when y'all getting along, but when you're not. You haven't had an argument. You haven't seen him under stress. You haven't seen each other in any kind of situation. You're meeting the person's representative. When you're on that phone and y'all, you know, just meeting or whatever, that's the person's representative. That's not even the person under stress. That's not under the person under any kind of, you know, bad situations. You know, they're just going to put their best foot forward. Okay? And so you have to be and talk with somebody for a while before you really get to know them. So no, your best friend, just because he telling you all of this stuff that could not be true, by the way, does not make him a best friend candidate.
Put on the table that we wanted marriage. And this is the end of part 1. Please excuse the hair, but here is part 1 of... Alright, which is kind of up my alley, my sense of humor. It was a good vibe. So at the end of the day, or excuse me, at the end of dinner, we sat in his car and he played this song for me.
She was right, it's a date.
By John Legend. I don't know the name of the song by the time this video posts, I will put the name at the bottom. I can't remember the song. I just remember that John Legend was talking about, I think I met my wife tonight. And I thought it was a sign. So I was like, oh my God. So anyway, we ended up sitting in the car talking just about life and experiences until about midnight. So during this conversation, he again is telling me how it was, you know, what it was like living in California, how he went out there, he went to San Diego State, he played football for San Diego State. He talked about how, you know, life, he loved it out there, so he stayed. That's when he joined the company. And then he explained that he also did arena football, but only did it for about 2 or 3.
Okay, so he played regular football and he played arena football. So he's basically saying, I'm so athletic, which is a red flag for narcissists.
Years. He claims that while he was doing arena football, the team that he was
for
on
being a narcissist
won a championship. But again, keep in mind, I don't know anything about arena football. So I was like, okay, I didn't know they had championships. And he was like, you know, he got a little offended, like, yeah, they got championships. And, you know, he was on
so
that
he
team.
couldn't, look, he couldn't just say he played football. He was very proud that they won the championship, which is fine, you know. You know, I've had family members who play football, and he's like, hey, remember Granddad said he made the winning touchdown? Yeah, you know, and when they are sportsy and athletic like that, they have a whole nother personality, y'all. That, if this is true where he was a football player, he's a football player. One thing about sportsmen is they're competitive. And they're competitive with self and they're competitive with others. They like to portray themselves as being, you know, this top-notch person. You know, you really can't get over on them. They want to basically be the best. I mean, you're dealing with a person who's very prideful. So you have to be aware of that when you're dealing with athletes.
So he talked to me about how he worked at Apple. He worked something in the IT area of Apple, but it was in the store. Again, it was one of those. It's like when I tell people I used to work at Amazon. I really wasn't paying much attention to it. Why? So we talked about all that. We talked deeply into what happened with the ex-wife. It's because I asked. He was not volunteering all this information. So in other words, I get very uncomfortable when men start talking about their ex a lot. That's not what happened. I was asking questions because I was really trying to figure out, okay, are you ready for a relationship, or are you still...
That was her spidey senses tingling. Did you share this?
I'm doing it now.
Missing her.
Okay, babe.
So we talked about that. We talked about my exes. That was a mistake I made because I talked about how I dated at one point in time somebody I worked with. That will come back later. And he seemed real cool about it. He was like, that was before me and blah, blah, blah. So the conversation was good. Midnight comes and I go home. Yes, I went home.
She went home, y'all.
We
Nothing
ended
happened.
up talking. Mind you, our first date was March 7th. And within about 2.5 weeks, Brian Kemp, our governor, shut Georgia down. We were going to be on lockdown. So during those 2.5 weeks, we talked every day. We went out again at Red Lobster. I remember Red Lobster. But everything was going great. The issue was, where are we going to quarantine? So the question was, are we going to quarantine?
Oh my
Please
God.
excuse the hair.
Hold on, y'all. First of all, y'all gonna quarantine where the heck you live at now?
All right, part 3. Who the fuck did I marry? So we're asking money really well. So, all right, and I thought it was a sign. So I was like, we talked about all that. We talked about our governor shut Georgia down. We were going to be on lockdown. So during those 2.5 weeks, we talked every day. We went out again at Red Lobster.
First of all, that was an emergency situation. You don't quarantine with somebody you don't know. Do you hear that?
I heard it.
Wherever he lived, that's where he quarantined, and you quarantine where the heck you are. You don't know this person. You stuck with that person?
I remember Red Lobster. But everything was going great. The issue was, where are we going to quarantine? So the question was, are we going to quarantine at his place, which he had like a studio type
I can't talk. We were quarantined during that blizzard of 2002.
We were.
Thank God you were a good person. That was the year that we got it was a blizzard.
It was,
It don't snow like, they made sure it don't snow like that no more. We haven't seen snow like that since, maybe the next one was in 2009.
Yeah.
That's back then. That's when it would snow. But that's when everything got cleared up, and as far as the salt, they couldn't afford it, so they did. I don't know what happened, but can you imagine just being quarantined with somebody you just don't know?
Yeah.
But I guess they were vibing, and when you vibing, them vibes are something, aren't they?
They are.
I mean, they get you in trouble. They really do.
situation. Like, it clearly, where he was staying, I was like, it's like a studio apartment, but he kept telling me, like, this is temporary because I'm looking for a house. Like, he showed me the email from a woman who worked at the company where she was out on maternity leave, but she was putting him in contact with a realtor to help him find a townhome or a single family house. So I was just like, okay, this is definitely temporary. Like, he's not trying to stay here long term. And she was apologizing in the email. I'm so sorry, you know, this should have been taken care of before you got here, but it wasn't. Da, 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 da. I saw the email. I read it. I read the email. Moment. During one of our dates, because keep in mind, in those 2 weeks, we were seeing each other quite a bit. Nothing physical or anything like that, just two people who I thought were really on some, all right, let's see if this is going to grow into something.
Well, y'all already act like it was already grown into something, talking about moving in together during an emergency situation. I mean, you can continue to talk on the phone and keep your separate distance, just in case something else happens. You ain't stuck with this person, but that's just my opinion.
He came to my house. When he came to my house, I had a 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath townhome. He was in the studio. Now, I'm telling you guys all of this in order of how it happened. So some things I'm probably going to insert what I was thinking and the mistake I made. Can I turn this off? No. Okay, so that. And I say that to say that I did not realize inviting him to my home probably made his eyes go, oh shit, she's a keeper. She got this 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath townhouse, and I'm in like a little studio. Yeah, let me go ahead and pursue this. What I need to do to quarantine here. The decision was made, quarantine at my house. So the state went on lockdown. He came and stayed with me in my home, and for the most part, in the initial beginning, it was fine. It was fine.
Oh, he saw her a mile away. Let's just keep that 100. He saw her a mile away, and that's why he went in quarantine. Okay, he had a studio. He would have been in that studio. So they could have still seen each other off and on or whatever, and still had their separate places.
The reason why I hesitate is because I grew up in the church. So for me, it was really like an internal struggle of, bruh, you always said you would never live with a guy unless he was your husband. And now you living with a dude and he ain't your husband. Like, it was a struggle for me because I knew better. And don't come from...
Yeah, well, if you knew better, you should have done better, in my opinion. Hold on. Yeah, you should have... Yeah, she didn't feel that bad.
I'm just telling you, the way I grew up, it was like that. It was not sitting right with me. But at the same time, I didn't want to quarantine by myself. I did not want to. So, there we go. So he moved in. We talked about the bills. Let me clear something up that I said in the other video where I said he paid all the bills. He paid all the household bills. He did not pay my car payment, my cell phone, or my car insurance. He paid the rent, because my rent at the time was less than $1,000. He paid the utility bills. And so when he's telling me that he's a regional manager, I was like, wow, okay, so you got money. And so he paid all the household bills. So my check really was just...
So she was impressed with his money. It is what it is. When you impressed with their money, you're going to run into situations like this. Maybe not all this, but...
taking care of me, myself, and I. And I am not... This is where it's not going to make me look good, but it's the truth. It was intoxicating to not have to worry financially about how to pay the bills. It was a wonderful feeling. And so I kind of pushed to the side the fact that, yeah, you shacking up. Because it's like, but your paycheck, you don't have to worry right now. Like, he's taking care of all of April's bills before April even comes, because this was still March.
Okay, so
we're living together.
She was having problems, y'all. She was having problems with her bills. So it's always looks good to have a second person there to help you with your bills. That's always a good thing, huh?
And I'm cooking, I'm cleaning, he's helping to cook and clean, and then we have a conversation about house. Is he still going to buy a house just for him, or is he going to buy a house where it's for us? Because we are going to try to make this thing work, be official, get married, have a family. So the question now on the table is, what are we going to do? Because I didn't want to stay in Riverdale, Georgia.
She didn't even say they were together.
Family there. I refused to have a baby in Clayton County. So the decision was made. Let's start looking for a house for both of us. Remember, he was already looking for a house for him. But then he was like, you know what? We're together. I plan to marry you. Let's look for a family home for the two of us. He was like, this is how much I was approved for. That's when he showed me the Chase paperwork. It was a letter stating that and it had the Chase emblem at the top.
She doesn't have the money for this big house that she wants, so they're going to move in. So everything was going to be in his control.
He showed me a letter stating that he was approved for $700. All right, who the fuck did I?
Okay, let me see.
We explained about in our warehouse, like you can buy something and we can hold it. People do it all the time, especially with COVID. So I watched him pay. I want to say it was about it was either $350 or $500. I watched him pay a deposit on a whole new set of appliances for them, and they were going to hold it until we were ready for delivery. I watched this. So I was like, okay, good deal. Like, we got the appliances. Next, let's go to rooms.
So he was paying for everything, and she was highly impressed.
To go.
And it was proof that he had this money.
And find actual furniture. So we went
this
all
food
around.
Good, big.
We went to Ashley Furniture. We went
this
to
food
American
is good.
Signature.
I know.
And I saw all these things that I wanted. Again, he's taking pictures of it. He was like, I can go online and order it. I didn't think anything of it because, again, I just saw that we held the appliances. Mm-hmm. So I was like, okay, that's fine. So April turns into May. May 2020 comes. This is where things start to get a little interesting. May comes and obviously we had not done inspection. Mm-hmm. And I'm asking him all the time, what's the deal with the house? He was like, oh, because of COVID, they're trying to get someone to do the inspection. But the guy that they had, it was always something. The guy they had caught COVID, so they're going to have to get somebody else. And he's like 15 houses backed up, so it'll be a while. So at this point in May, I know I look crazy. In this point in May of 2020, I started recording audio diaries. I don't know why.
That's how she knew. At that point, when you feel like you have to record people or record situations, she didn't say she recorded him, but I'm sure she did. That's a red flag.
It was something just made me just start recording my thoughts in an audio diary, and I still have them. And I would save them.
She was probably recording them, huh?
And I would just start talking about.
She wasn't recording her thoughts only. She was recording them conversations.
So I was like, I knew there was something.
But you can't say that.
Something was nagging me, like. But I kept pushing it out of my mind. I was like, You saw, this is what I reminded myself. You saw him pay for the appliances. You know the house is under contract. You know that he told you that he's the one who put the house under contract. Why would, like, I remember saying to myself, why would he lie about that? This is so...
So she started waking up, but it was too late, y'all. Y'all keep listening.
Easy to verify. Why would he lie about that? Have you caught him in any other lie? And at the time, the answer was no. So I really was like, maybe you just aren't used to a guy who actually does what he's supposed to do. Like, I was questioning myself and then answering my own questions. So inspection didn't happen. Around mid-May, I found out I was pregnant. May 2020. When I found out I was pregnant...
Met in March, pregnant in May. Fast. Okay?
He was ecstatic, and I was like, oh shit. The reason why I was oh shit is because, number one, I'm plus size. Number two, because of my age, I felt like it was probably going to be a high-risk pregnancy. And I wasn't married. And that nagged. I cannot tell y'all how much it nagged me. There was a lot of internal struggle.
It was not no internal struggle, honey. Not only did you saying that she was so, felt bad, because of her upbringing and raising in the church. Not only did you move on with this guy, you started sleeping with him, and then you were sleeping with him unprotected. It wasn't nagging, sis. That wasn't nagging. You were going along and did everything that caused this.
And between my family didn't even know that he had moved in at this point. I told them, that I was pregnant. Went to the doctor. Everything looked good. But again, because it was COVID, he couldn't go in with me into the actual room. So, doing any sort of ultrasound, doing the blood test, because my HCG levels were really high. So the doctor was like, hey, it might be twins. We don't know yet. You're still kind of early, along. They gave me a due date. Due date was January 26th of 2021. So, yeah. May, found out I was pregnant. So there was now more of a push into, we got to get a house. We got to get the fuck up out of here. I'm not having a baby in Riverdale. Okay? Nothing against Riverdale. But I ain't having a baby in Riverdale. So we need to find out what's going on with this house. And so he was on top of it. He had an answer for everything. He was like, I'm going to call and find out what's going on, blah, blah, blah. He then magically told me about a week later, oh, they're going to do inspection on the house, like, in 2 days. So I was just like, okay. Keep in mind, I'm taking his word for it. I'm taking his word for all this. So he's like,
So she was just listening to him. She was not really in the game. You get what I'm saying? She didn't know any of this for herself, and she's pregnant and things like that. Ooh.
We're going to do an inspection. Once we get the inspection report back, then we will know what we're going to be responsible for. What are we getting ourselves into? So, I guess they did an inspection. He showed me an inspection report. Only thing that they said that the roof had just recently been replaced, which I remember he was very happy about. And the issues that there were for the house were minor. It was not a bad, because we did have a discussion about it. He was like, it's nothing that we can't handle. Then he said that we were set to close the end of May. We were set to close the end of May. He told me it was going to be a virtual closing. You're probably like, what the hell is a virtual closing? Because again, he's saying because of COVID, people are not closing in the office. They're doing a virtual closing where you would need to electronically sign the paperwork. This is what he's telling me.
Makes
And
sense.
so he was like, we're set to close like just before Memorial Day. And so for some reason, again, there's still that nagging part. For some reason, I didn't start packing. Anyone that knows me will tell you I hate moving. I've done it enough in my life. I hate moving. But I did not start packing up that house.
Nobody likes moving.
I was just like, you know, I'm pregnant. My body was changing so fast that it was like I could barely keep my eyes open half a day. And so, no, I didn't start packing. And I remember I did record, again, I was recording audio diaries just about every day. When something didn't sit right, I would verbally record it in the audio diary because I was like, I don't know what it is.
So them audio diaries was full, baby.
That was the theme of our relationship. I don't know what it is, but I know there's something. And so I remember talking to myself in my little prayer closet because that's where I would do my recordings. And I remember thinking, what if we don't get this house? Like, what if he's lying? But again, there goes that thought process of, why would he lie about this? Like, who makes up that they're buying a house when in fact they're not? And then he's showing you all this paperwork. Like, come on, you can't be that jaded that you don't even believe what's in front of you. All right? So now
she was definitely jaded. She was definitely had the sun in her eyes, and she was with child. So that would, she was in love, and in lies and lust, I should say. You know what I mean? So she just let that darn man talk a hole in her head.
we're going to go into part 5.
And that's where we gonna come back, y'all, and talk about this. All right. So thanks for watching. Thumbs up the video. Let us know what you feel so far about this story.